I'm feeling good. So when I saw those people, I'm like, okay. Long answer.
Doesn't feel.
Get basement chicken? Get me out of the kitchen.
Oh.
I was like, I want a
Are you
piece.
sick?
Huh?
You're sick?
Yeah, I've been like, this is like the first time I've been out of my room.
What? If it isn't me, I don't know. If it isn't me, then that's a problem because there's some sort of, doppelganger effect going on. It is me. I assure you. Although it probably should require a secret password.
Secret password.
Yeah.
Like a secret handshake or
Right.
or something.
Right. Now you will never know.
Ashley's not joining us.
For sure.
They're in session right now.
And you're sick. Get out. Go away. Think how guilty you're going to feel.
You will.
I think you actually just went into the.
I think he's ran down.
Joe made me feel bad.
Making people feel bad is corrective action.
Are we missing a bunch of people? Or
Just one.
No John, no Brian.
John is gone.
Why? JD should be back.
Should I wait for JD?
And Robert's here.
All right, I'd like to call the meeting to order at 5:49 p.m. and welcome you all to the March 12th S&A meeting. We'll start with roll call and attendance. Joseph Bryant.
Here.
JD Trest. Sarah Feeney.
Here.
Miles Glover.
Here.
Sharon Jonison. Kate Kinnison. Robert Lane.
Here.
Robert Mosier. Josh Moonshart.
Here.
Dustin Walford.
Here.
Derek Whittam.
Very present.
Honey Williams.
Here.
And I am present. Move to
More present than I want.
agenda approval. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to add voting request for supplemental request number 1415 and 1416 under subsection C under base, so it'll be after base funding program reviews. And that was entertaining. Oh, Dustin.
So moved.
Is there a second? Josh, any discussion? Nah. All those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion passes. Is JD here?
I'm here.
Oh, you're very late.
I was here and then I had to run and grab copies.
That's all right. All right, we'll move on to section 4 approval of the minutes from last week. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the agenda. Robert? Robert? Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Agenda approved. Move on to approval of the minutes. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the minutes. Miles?
So moved.
Is there a second? Sarah? Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, minutes approved. Move on to section 5 reports. I don't have anything to report. Alright. Move on to section 6, public comment. Is there any public comment at this time? All right, move to section 7, new business, supplemental funding requests. Oh, okay. We'll it'll just be a minute.
Do you have 2 cell phones in front of you?
Yeah.
Why?
He's my work phone.
Oh, you get a work phone. That is so exciting. Just make sure not to use it for anything. Many a government official has been brought down.
Mini.
Many.
Like,
At least 2.
I don't have nothing to worry about now.
Just 1 second, guys. We're connecting to the internet.
You've been on what? I do. Yes, I do.
it's alright. I just learned of this like a month ago. So.
Really?
Really, I know. Well, so. When did you catch up? What are you talking about? I know. Well, I haven't known for a long time. I'm taking this still. Not taking you.
All right. Do we have Boots and Cats here? All right. If you want to come up and load your presentation, that'd be great.
What's that?
Are you sure they're pretty comfortable?
Do you want to do what why you hang out with girlfriend?
Yeah. No, I actually, since I'm sir. Your logic never ceases. It's like, sir. I mean,
There's no way. There's an element.
Somebody who's single and married.
Sir,
eager to make
sir just ran back and goes, go to the bars.
We should be very happy that nobody actually watches this. Something Oh, do you? I
All right. This is Boots and Cats, and they're requesting $3,200. You have 10 minutes. You have till about 6:05.
So we are Boots and Cats. We're a local acapella group that formed just this past summer, and we competed at the International Collegiate Acapella Championships. And there's 5 different regions with 5 different regionals that feed into the semifinals. We competed at the 3rd regional in the Northwest, and we placed top 2, giving us a berth to the semifinals in LA. From there, the top 2 go on to New York, which is the finals for that competition, and the winner is crowned, so to say. So what we're requesting funds for would be the airfare to get down there. Yes. No, we're good. So the requested amount from you all would be $3,200, and we've already obtained some funding from Club Senate to cover hotel and to cover rental van. We've been doing a bunch of different sales and fundraisers in order to help fund, as well as every member of our ensemble is employed and has been taking as many extra shifts as possible. Sometimes giving up sleep to do that, just so that we can kind of carry our own weight with this. So we've been doing bake sales, ice cream sales, lunch sales. Like today, we did taco soup in the music building. Local business sponsorships. We will be hosting a raffle on Monday, March 17th at 7 p.m. from all the different things that local businesses have donated. An example would be Jim from James Blake's donated a hair product basket that has hair products, a gift certificate, and some wine from Bricks, which it has an estimated value of $250. We've been selling the raffle tickets for the past 2 weeks. We're going door to door, selling them in the music building, before concerts, all sorts of things, just to try and help with per diem and any of the other expenses that we can. Also coming up this next weekend, we'll be competing at the Harmony Sweepstakes in Olympia, which is just another opportunity to kind of represent Central and show what it is that we do here that makes us a step above the rest of the colleges in the area. So for further clarification, Section B, we are Boots and Cats. It was the International Championships of Collegiate Acapella. It will be hosted in LA April 5th, and the top 2 placers from there will come. Yes. So our learning objectives, the big thing about this group is that everything that we do business-wise is on us. So Emily and myself have kind of taken the forefront for leadership as far as all the management of the group, managing our Facebook, our YouTube, fundraising, documenting the funds, getting ourselves officially made into a club here at Central. As such, this has been a great chance for us to coordinate a musical ensemble. It's mostly made up of performance majors and one music educator, and coordinating this kind of travel is a really good experience for us as far as going into the workforce. Whether we become educators or performers, we're going to need to understand how to coordinate our own travel, whether it be for a large group or for our own personal singing enterprises or for ourselves as a solo artist. There's also the chance for us to exchange information with other colleges. I've been in contact with a few other colleges in the area and have tried to touch base with some high schools. We'd love to set up exchanges with them. It gives us, one, a chance to perform our set and perfect what we're doing and base it off of audience reaction, and two, to represent Central. We've been in contact with academic advising and are putting together a packet of information that we can bring down so that once we do perform an exchange with these different places, we have some information from, wow, you guys are great. What's the music department like at Central? What's admissions like at Central? We can give them this information, and it serves not only as a chance for us to network and extend what we're doing as a group, but also to showcase Central and potentially get you guys some new students. Next. And then next. So this is our proposed budget. We have the revenue sources that we've come up with on our own, which would be personal investments. The per diem down in LA is about $71 per day per person. So that's represented by the $1,988, which we'll be providing for ourselves. Gas to SeaTac, which is 2 cars over any of the parking expenses, all of that, $135. Local sponsorships, we've anticipated about $300. As of now, we're floating around $150 as far as the physical monetary donations that they've made, just because most businesses prefer to donate a product or a gift certificate as it then brings in more business for them. And then the Club Senate, we requested and received funding for around $1,200, $1,300. So the total revenue that we're contributing is just shy of $3,700. Our anticipated expenses would be airfare around $3,500. This is going to fluctuate as when we prepared all the documents, it was still early on, and as we've gotten closer, we're 2 weeks-ish away from flying out, which means airfare is going to be more expensive. The rental van ended up being a little bit less expensive than we anticipated, and even with the rental insurance was at $500. The hotel ended up being a touch more expensive at $1,078. The meals will be static, and the travel to SeaTac will also be a static cost. So that brings us to about $7,000, of which we're contributing over half. And next year. So our itinerary for the trip, just to kind of explain why we'd be going down so early, is that we have a chance to work with Tim Davis, who is a musical director of American Idol and Glee. And we would be working with him, and he would be giving us some insight into how we can improve our set and give us the best chance of placing in top 2, earning us a berth in the finals. We'll also be working with Stefano from American Idol. I don't know if you guys have heard of him, but he was on season 10, he placed 7th. He went to Bellevue Community College, went there, so he has local roots, and he's also going to be a really great source of information for us as far as critiques for performance. Again, we would be setting up tours and exchanges with local colleges, universities, and high schools. So we would like to use Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of the time that we're down there to work with these individuals because they have a very limited scheduling availability. Tim Davis, as you can imagine with American Idol and Glee, keeps kind of busy. So we're trying to make it so that we can work around his schedule a little bit as the information he's going to provide us and the form of critiques will be vital to us. I think at the top level that we can. Next. So with that in mind, the breakdown of our budget is as follows. The cost of the trip per member is around $300 between gas, food per diem, and other. We ended up purchasing a coupon book that would help reduce the cost of hotel, airfare, and the rental van. So the airfare, since it's fluctuating right now, the way we plan to help kind of minimize our costs with that would be purchasing non-refundable tickets. They're typically about $100 cheaper. Flying out on Tuesday is $50 to $70 cheaper per ticket, which will offset any additional hotel costs that we would have and still end up saving us about $150. And then we plan on using coupons, AARP and AAA discounts from our family and friends. The coupon book that we have gives us 10% off of any flight, so we'll be using that next. Then there's also the hotel, which ended up being a little bit more expensive just because we had to wait until last Wednesday in order to reserve the 2 rooms. We're maximizing how many people we can fit in the room. We have 4 ladies in one room, 3 fellows in the other, and we kept it to 3 stars or fewer. Using the entertainment book, there was a 10 to 20% off coupon, so we used that, and that will reduce costs a little bit. With the rental van, we anticipated 400 to 500. It was kind of hard to tell what it was going to end up being. We ended up with a 7-passenger Dodge Caravan, so we can fit all of us in one van. We don't have to worry about taxis or shuttles or buses, which will also kind of help with student safety, as we really aren't super familiar with the area. And using the coupon book, we used a $40 off coupon, which helped a little bit, and it's going to provide us the means to travel, to meet up with Tim Davis, to meet up with Stefano, to go to these colleges and network with the other areas that we have there. Next. Which brings us to us. So this is a video of us singing at Emily, the Blanc Gal in her high school. This was the night before our ICCA competition. And you have to prepare a song just in case you take first, and then you get a chance to perform it for everyone. So this would have been ours. A big platform for us is that we've always wanted to be the group that represented Central through positive collaboration and positive music. There's a lot of groups out there that they end up singing songs that are just about, they're about sex, because it's hip hop, it's pop, and it degrades people or something to that effect.
Is it? Okay.
But for us, we wanted
Let's
to
do the
provide a
second.
chance to show that you can be in a close-knit working team and still get along and still enjoy each other and still be something that other people want to be around. So this was kind of our take on a positive collaboration.
You were wrong.
I promise we do sing with volume. We didn't. That's actually all we're going to do at ICC is we're going to walk with there.
Try again. Is the volume on the computer? we might need a live.
Hold me like the river Jordan. Now let's sing to thee. You are my friend. Carry me like a brother. Hold me like a mother. Will you be there?
Lean on me when you're not strong. I'll be
Your turn, Law and Justice Club. You gotta stick out.
So that's a little bit of what we do. We placed second at the one we went to, and Antonio, our beatboxer back there, the one who was making, that handsome man, the one that was making the percussive sounds, all of that is done by him. So everything that you heard that sounded like a drum is him, and he actually took best vocal percussion. We've done quite a bit of looking at the rest of the groups, and I know I'm biased because I think it's pretty cool, but I think I would be severely shocked if we didn't come back with best vocal percussion after this next one. So that's a little bit about us. You all have, this is the question portion. So
Yeah, I'll open up the table for questions. JD always has a question.
Thanks, Jacob. Have you looked at a specific airline, and if so, which airline? Because I know you mentioned the coupon book they gave you off an airline.
Yeah, so the coupon book has coupons for Alaska Air, Southwest, Verizon, Virgin Air. It doesn't, either way, we're going to have coupons we can use for whichever. Tonight, hopefully, I'll be looking at those. And we're going to be going with whatever it is that maximizes our travel while minimizing the cost.
And then one follow-up question to that: when did you look at the tickets for this, and how much did they cost per ticket?
When we submitted this application 2 weeks ago is when I did the original research, and the tickets were around $400 per ticket, but it has a large variance per airline depending on refundable tickets. We of course won't be going fancy class, we'll be going there as cheap as we can. But multiple searches change, so each time that you search using your same computer, because you're not using private browsing, the ticket prices actually go up, so I went straight down the middle.
Any further questions from the board? Go ahead.
I like how you actually try to research and actually make your money work the best way it could, as far as like you're using coupons, and I don't know. It's just really nice to see, because a lot of groups, I've never seen any other group come in here and present us with a coupon.
You have a question?
Great question.
I'm going to call you out if you don't have a question.
No.
Derek.
Why did you tell us all about the coupons and the ways you're trying to save money? Just out of curiosity.
I think it's important for you guys to know that we're not just using you as a funding source. Our group, we work a lot. The reason why 2 of our members aren't here is because they're at work. One of them is working at the Fan Garden, Lori, and the other one is an at-home attendant for disabled people. So he works from 3 p.m. until 7 a.m., 4 days a week. So I think it's important for you guys to know that we're not just using you as a means for this. Most of us pay for our educations at least partially out of pocket, and we just can't. There's no way. If we didn't use coupons and if we didn't maximize everything that we were doing as far as funding goes, I don't think we could do it. I would try and bankroll it as much as possible, just because I work way too much, and so I actually have some savings, but I don't think we could do it. But I think it's important for you guys to know that we sincerely are trying to help as much as we can.
That's a perfect answer. Any other questions at this time? JD.
What airport are you flying into?
LAX. It's cheaper. Ontario typically is $60 more per ticket.
Any further questions, JD?
No.
Any further questions from the rest of the board? All right, we'll vote on this today. Thank you. All the time. Except for the camera's looking right here, and I'm like, that's embarrassing. Yeah. That's why I'm sitting all awkward right now. You got that one. All right, I'd like to invite the Law and Justice Club up.
Would you like all of us to stand up or just the representative?
Just the representative. Yeah, that's
Would you like us to
fine. Sure, why not? You only have 10 minutes though. So.
Okay, we'll just go down real quick just to say your name. Okay.
All right.
Evelyn.
Okay.
I'm Cindy Chen. Jessica Evenson.
Shelby Brock Bowder.
Jacqueline Hendrickson.
Ryan Newby.
Richard Miller.
My name is Dan Unick.
My name is Raul Fernandez.
And my name is Nicole Stevens, and I'm the current president of the Law and Justice Club. So we are, every year, the Law and Justice Club likes to go on an annual trip. And this year, we're going to Houston, Texas. So who's going? Obviously, Law and Justice Club. The 11 of us members, everyone was able to make it today. We're all planning to go. And then we also have 2 advisors. Danielle Neal, who is our actual club advisor. She is using her faculty development funds to go, so we're not paying any portion of her trip. And then also Professor Wes Claxton. He actually organized this trip for us because he used to be a former game worker down in Texas and he has many connections. And we actually offered to pay for him because he's doing so much for the club, but he said he wants to pay his own way and he'd rather have that money go towards the club so more people could go. go. So we really appreciated that. So he's going, we're not paying any portion of him. So, and then we're going Tuesday, April 1st, 2014, and then we are staying until Sunday, April 6th, 2014. And we chose these dates because, similar to what they said, it's cheaper to fly on Tuesday than it is Monday. So we significantly cheaper. It was about $100 cheaper when we left about a month ago, or a month and a half ago. So we decided to go Tuesday. And then we have 2 days for travel, Tuesday and Sunday. And then we have 4 full days to maximize our time down there and do all the things that we plan to do every day. So, and then we are going to Houston, Texas. Like I said before, we chose this location. We went through a whole list of different places we could go, and we chose Houston based solely because of Professor Hoxton. He had so many connections and so many educational avenues we could go through down in Texas through Hoxton. So that was awesome. And then the hotel we're staying at is Milano Houston Intercontinental Airport East. There will be 5 rooms, 6 days and 5 nights, and I'll talk a little more about that later. But the biggest thing is there's a free airport shuttle. And we're, like I'll talk about in a little bit too, we're all going on different flights. And the biggest thing with this is that everyone has a way to get to the airport, no problem, especially since we're all flying at different times. So we are on my airplane from Seattle down to Houston, Texas. I want to say Houston Intercontinental Airport. And then we're doing individual flights because we did not have enough money in the public account to front a cost for everyone to go like they've done in the past and do a group flight. So everyone who went has actually purchased their own ticket already, and we're hoping through you guys and through S&A and SAS, SAS and Senate, that we can actually get fully reimbursed for those tickets. Otherwise, all the other costs will come out of the account. So there's that, and then the cheapest way of transportation is a 15-person van, which will fit all 13 of us, no problem. Both our advisors are ready to go and drive, and they have all their information covered and everything that's also already purchased. And they'll obviously be flying back. I want to say 11 of the 13 of us actually all ended up on the same flight back, but we're not on the same flight there, which was actually kind of cool. And then also, obviously we'll be getting to the airport by your own means, your family or friends. So a few purposes. Biggest thing is there's many educational avenues through this trip. We will be able to further our knowledge at this university, better prepare us for our future careers, whether it's in law enforcement or it's in just anywhere in the law justice field, or not even in the law justice field. And then it will provide a different perspective from another state governmental institution. That's the biggest thing. We like to explore other states, not just Washington State, especially because not everyone will possibly be working in Washington. It's nice to branch out and compare our state and what we've grown up to learn to other states, and especially because different states have different laws. And then this also allows us to further succeed in our time at this university and beyond. So some other purposes too. The biggest one, in my opinion, is the field experience. The biggest thing within the law and justice field, a lot of other departments can probably go and do an actual setup conference and learn through that method and get experience that way with their careers. But law and justice is a little difficult because most people like to do like fish and wildlife or police, law enforcement and that kind of stuff. And the best way to get experience is getting that hands-on experience. So that's the goal of this trip, is to get that hands-on experience, not just read a book and hope that we know what we're going to expect when we get into the field. And then obviously we're going to be networking and then expanding the knowledge that we already have that we've learned at this university and just our majors. So a couple of the learning objectives, as I said, hands-on experience. We will be going to all these places that I listed here. We get the police department, the courts, corrections, and the prison system. We also game wildlife, parks and fish and regulation, and we also get alcohol, tobacco, firearms, and explosives experience. And we'll also be going down to the university down there. And then we also get to, like I said, gain knowledge from another state government institution, such as their state procedures, their state laws, and their educational system, since it's different among all states across the nation. And then we'll be applying classroom knowledge to the railroad, and then we also have a developing law and justice master's program, and it's starting up next year, and we'll be able to expand on this through this trip. We can bring back knowledge of the university that we're visiting down there, of their system, and apply it here, especially since it's still developing and work in progress, the master's program. And so this is a little different because Professor Clarkson actually emailed me about an hour ago with the actual, this concrete itinerary, or exception of one thing. So as it's listed there, we're going to the Houston Police Department, the three specific places are the Houston Police Academy, Emergency Communications, and Real-Time Crime Center. And we're doing that all throughout the morning from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. with a lunch break in there. And then from 3:30 p.m. to closing, we'll be visiting the district attorney's office and viewing some important procedures and stuff while we're down there. And then, and I did skip the first day, Tuesday, because we have varying times, we allocated 2 days as full travel day. So if people had to do layover flights in order to save money, they have the whole day and they didn't have to worry about getting there at 5 p.m. or something along those lines. And then, so that was our Wednesday schedule, and that's a full day. It's also about an hour drive to each location, especially during traffic around these times. So we'll be getting up at 7 or 8 every morning to try and make it to all these events, so we'll have a full day jam-packed. And then Thursday, we are going to leave, obviously we book until at 8. And then from 10 to 12, we'll be visiting the bird unit. We have a break for lunch. We'll also be doing visiting the prison museum while we're down there. And then there's a barbecue dinner specifically that College would like us to go to. It's a nice place down there. And then we actually get the opportunity to see an execution at 12 a.m. that day. So yes, it's really late, but we're actually really excited about that. We get to, everyone's really thrilled that we get that experience. Not only do we get to experience seeing it and seeing the procedures to it, we actually get to see what, like the protests and everything going outside, which is really awesome to get that experience. Next one, so Friday, that's wrong on the morning. We're actually, because we switched the ATF and the district attorney's office, so we're hopefully doing ATF, which that's a little tentative because they could be possibly, they could drop the hat, have to go to somewhere, we will lose out on that opportunity. But if not, we plan to start really early morning that day. And then at 1, we're going to Sam Houston State University and do a tour of their graduate school, which is a great opportunity in case anyone's looking into criminal justice graduate programs. And that's also what we can bring back and apply to our program. And then Saturday is the biggest, longest day. This is with Professor Clarkson's whole work, actually, and they have the whole day planned out. We're going to do an airborne tour and a, what was the other one? Offshore patrol. We're going to split the group up. One's going to do one for half the day, and then we're going to switch after lunch, do the other half of the day, and then they have some other activities planned for us at 5 p.m. too back at their office. So that could go from until 8 p.m. or 10 p.m. And then Sunday is our last day, and we're all leaving. I think consensus was 5 o'clock flight home was the 11 or 13 of us, which was nice. So, excuse me. I know you guys usually like to ask how this would benefit the other students at Central Washington University. It's really hard to say that our trip will directly benefit everyone else, but there are ways that we can indirectly influence and help other students. So the students that attend, which will be S11, will be bringing back knowledge and experience of legislatures and state governments other than Washington State, which is really important. And then we'll be able to apply this experience to the New Developing CWU Law and Justice Master's Program, as I mentioned. And then obviously also to the Law and Justice Department. Yes, this isn't the entire university, but this is ways that we're bringing something back, hopefully. And then the biggest thing, point in my opinion, is that you'll also be able to apply what we learned through future leadership opportunities that we've taken. So all our events, we can apply what we learned through this to them, like we're doing Live next quarter. And we can bring back that and show what we learned through our leadership and through other activities that we do at the university. So going off of that, just some community service that we've done. We did behind the Foundation 5K. It was called the Zombie 5K this year in order to hopefully get a better turnout. And we raised actually $800 that we completely donated the entire funds to the Bad Foundation. That's our biggest thing we like to do every year. And then we also donated to any soldier this year. We do that every year as well for Christmas. We do a Law and Justice Career Night, so we host a career night for the Law and Justice Department. Anyone's welcome, obviously. And we try to bring every single field within the Law and Justice representative from that within the city. And then we're doing a shadow box of police patches. The local high school is actually doing this project for us. We're just finding them in order to have the donations. So it's about $150 coming out of our club account just to have this representation of patches that have been donated across the nation to have represented in the Law and Justice Department. And then, like I said, we'll be doing Relay for Life. And then we always do a students versus college softball game, which everyone in the university is welcome to do. We host a barbecue, recognition night, and we try to have that softball game so that everyone can go. And obviously got that. So then fundraising. These first three are specifically what we are applying to this trip. We did a Ellensburg rodeo, actually to West Shelby, and I went this year, and we got $625 for working every single weekend at the rodeo, which we're using because the two of us are both going on the trip. We decided to spread it out between the 11 of us and have it be part of the fundraising for this trip. And then the Lawn Justice Club raffle, we raised about $325 this fall quarter. And then a Lawn Justice t-shirt sale and sweatshirt sales. It was roughly about $150. Hopefully, we're still trying to finalize that one. And then we're not applying this directly, but club dues. We ask everyone to pay $30 for the entire year. That way, it shows their commitment to the club, and it gives a foundation for the club account that we can apply back to them throughout the year through all the events that we do, club dinners and all that stuff. They get it all back and even more, but it's a good way to start the club. And then we're doing a raffle dinner for $2 on you, where we're going to about 40 or 50 different locations across the city and asking them if they'll donate something for a dinner for two. And then we're going to put it in a big pot and do the raffle next quarter. So, and then we're also trying to do the future car wash next quarter as well. So anticipated expenses. So total flight costs for 9 of us is $3,636.19, and this is already bought tickets. One of our club members is using Flight Miles, so they save money that way for us. And then another one is doing standby, which is also a way that they're saving money. So this is the exact cost. I can break it down if you guys really wanted me to, but this is the exact total for each exact cost for the rent of us. The hotel is that much, but I'll explain in a little bit why it's that much on the next slide. And then the van, $737.19 for the whole entire time. And then our anticipated gas cost is about $300 while we're down there. And we know that can fluctuate, so especially when we're driving way down. So the total for this is $6,574.63. So anticipated revenue, we have already received funding from Academic Senate of $1,500, and we have already received funding from Club Senate of $2,000. And then the $1,100 is the three that I listed before that we're applying to this trip for our own fundraising and money. And then the reason I have the advisor contribution to the hotel, in order to get that group rate of the $1,900, we had to book 5 rooms together. So the club paid for the entire amount, and each advisor was reimbursing us. So that's the total of them reimbursing us. So we incorporated that into the anticipated revenue. And then the leftover amount after taking all these into account was $1,384.63, which is about $154 per person for the 9 people that actually did buy a ticket. That's what would be coming out of our pocket, obviously not including food cost, if we do not receive funding from you guys. And that is why we are asking for that amount to hopefully be able to reimburse everyone for their full ticket costs. And then, so, like I said, that's how much we're asking. Hopefully you guys will be willing to give us that money, and then we can fully reimburse everyone who's bought a ticket. And then, so thank you very much for your time and consideration. Question time on this?
All right, open up the table for discussion. Questions, JD. Connie, go ahead.
I'll jump in. I have two.
Yeah.
The first question I have is how many members do you have?
It fluctuates. Right now we're about 20.
So how are the people that are going, the 11 I believe it is, how are they selected?
The way it was selected was if they were able to pay for the ticket and with the potential of getting reimbursed later. We are the 11 that were able to front that money and then hopefully get reimbursed in the end. But the other people who didn't go either didn't want to go, had something else going on, didn't want to miss school, or they didn't have enough money to pay for it.
And my second question is fairly brief. You listed, oh yeah, sorry, water, yeah. Presentations can be really, on the fundraising, you listed that you're contributing $1,100 for the slide, where you outlined all of your fundraising. Seemed to total quite a bit more than $1,100.
Yes,
so you're not contributing all of your fundraising.
Not all of it. Like I was explaining, the first 3 were directly that we're using because because it's what all 11 of us have participated in, and we don't want to take away obviously from other people that have helped out too. And then the other one, so that's why we weren't doing the individual $330 initial fee every year. We decided not to incorporate that. And then there's other ways that we're trying to raise more money. So next quarter we're trying to do more, but the 3 that we listed are what we've already done, already received, and are planning to use for this trip.
Thank you.
Any further questions?
I'm the holder.
Robert? Robert and Sarah?
So just, sorry, make sure I'm correct in this. You're looking for $1,901 hotels, but you would subtract that $590.
Yes.
So you're actually looking for
Yes, which we're using funding that, I think it was SACS that gave us funding that will pay for that amount.
No, you can go ahead.
And how many students? 11 students?
Yep, 11 students are,
So how's that breaking down into? Okay, never mind.
okay.
All right, Sarah?
Okay. So at one point you were talking about 9 students, and at some point you were now 11. Can you clarify this?
The reason I said 9 is because 2 members did not pay out of pocket, so we weren't gonna expect them to pay the leftover amount for their ticket. So the $1,000 or the $150 it was roughly is how much each person would have to pay, which would be some, from the ticket that they've already bought, if that makes sense. So because we're asking
Oh,
for.
so you had the standby person and the
Yeah, we have some, yeah.
person. Okay.
So they obviously can't get reimbursed for having a free flight. So the reason why we would only make those 9 pay is because they're the ones who actually bought a ticket. The other 2 we wouldn't expect them to pay for our tickets. So that's why we did 9.
Any further questions from the board at this time? JD?
Yes. So this is going to follow a question up with Robert's question. So he said you're subtracting the 590 from your hotel. So your real bill is for the hotel is 1,311.
Yes.
So with that, what I guess what I'm confused in is then
Why did I include it?
why is it included in the revenue and
The reason I did that was because that is the bill, that is the check that we sent to them. We already sent it to the hotel, and that was the amount we did. It was the only way we could get over group rate, which saved us about $400, I think it was to send that one check for all 5 rooms. So because we did that and came out of the club account, each advisor is reimbursing the club account for their individual room. And that's why I included it, because we actually sent that check, so I didn't want to subtract it and make it. Because in accounting, that's the number that they're going to see first. So.
Yeah, it's proper for accounting.
okay. I was just I'm a launch just thinking how that.
Any further questions at this time? Sarah?
How many people will be staying in each room?
We have, I didn't explain that, we have 4 females in one room, 3 females in one room, and 4 males in one room. So that's why we were able to keep it to 3 rooms for the 11 of us. That was the cheapest way to do it.
And there's one room for each advisor.
Because there's 7 females and 4 males, so it would yeah, they wanted their own rooms and they're paying for it, so that was. That makes sense. Okay.
Any further questions at this time? Last call. All right. Thank you. We'll vote on this in about soon. I don't know. I have no idea how long it's going to be. Depending on how long I talk for it. Yeah.
Oh, I'm excited to do this.
Yeah, all right, so we have base funding program reviews, and we have our wonderful student funds financial manager. I don't know who she is, but she seems pretty cool. So I'll let her have the floor.
Is it Sharon Jones?
It is.
Oh, yeah, her name is Sharon.
Okay, so this. Okay, so this report, and I talked to Joey about this. I'm actually reporting on 2 budgets. I am supported through the base funding under the student funds financial management budget. And then I have also the circuit accounting department rolls up under me, and 2 of the employees in that circuit accounting department are funded through the base funding that is also funded by this, the flat funding that is also funded by this committee as under a different base funding line. So I'm doing a dual report, so if I talk a little over 10 minutes, because there's 2 in here.
Cut you off.
But what I didn't want to have to delineate between was, I do this person does this, because we all work as a team in our office. And so when we look at the way our office runs, I think one of the, there's a couple priorities in how I run the office. One is we are a service office to all students and all S&A programs that the S&A committee support. So customer service is really high. So everybody's cross-trained because we try our best not to have to send people away and come back, because we understand the students' schedules are a bit topsy-turvy at times too. So we work as a team. And the other thing is to make sure we're compliant with generally accepted accounting practices, making sure transactions are auditable, and we do a lot of education with students too to help them with university policies and navigating through the travel process so that we can mitigate issues that they might run into, either whether it be because policies have been not so much in flux, but there's been a lot of changes, and it's quite an educational process to help them if they get hung up from a system reason or just routings and stuff. So we work a lot with the students to support in that way. So the history of my position, it was established in 1994. It was established by the Board of Trustees, and the students also agreed to support this position. And it was really because the S&A funds and student fee funds as a whole were really going from just supporting a few small programs to where they were really expanding, collecting a lot more funds, and they were starting to talk about building this building. And so they understood that there was going to be bonds included, there was going to be a lot more around the whole student fee area. So they established my position. And I'm going to not read this word for word to everybody unless I digress, and I apologize in advance. But so we support a whole lot of areas. Again, students are our main focus and the programs that are associated with S&A, but also that rolls up into having to educate the dean and the associate deans, and being the financial advisor to this committee. I represent this committee and the students on the Budget and Finance Committee. So there's a lot of different committees and organizations that we support. Most of you guys are aware because we fund the S&A funded program areas, but just helping them, educate them on budgets. I do little courses on them. Well, how do you read your FMS summary report? How do you get information out of the system? How do you budget? And so there's a lot of work that I work with the individual areas. And then again, my staff is, well, you'll see it later, but we have thousands of club transactions every year. Every transaction requires 2 club signatures. They rarely come in at the same time. And then there's also the payout of those transactions, handling the deposit, so that the staff are pretty busy. Robert actually works in my office. So we have a lot of clubs to support, a lot of student travelers. So there is a lot going on, plus a lot just supporting all of the activities in this building, because a lot of them, you know, people walk up and they pay for a ticket that might be a non-student at Monday Movie Madness, but what are we doing to ensure that, that those transactions are auditable, that we have control totals, and appropriate cash handling? So we're always training the different areas that are hosting activities to ensure that we're protecting the student funds, the state funds, and so on. So really I just talked about all of our key services, but I do a lot of financial advising, creating reports, forecasting, budgeting, processing things within the system. Again, we have a lot of students, making sure everything's done with internal controls in mind, and we also help them with sometimes figuring out how their presentations have to fill out the different applicable forms, both that we require, the university requires. So there's a lot of contacts going on. This is a little bit more within the Circuit Accounting Office. I tried to put in some of the transactions, but we have about 3,500 transactions a year. And those have multiple contacts and multiple walkthroughs on the students and stuff. And so it's really student focus and S&A program focus is really high on our agenda too. But the last thing we want is somebody to walk out just feeling devastated because they don't know what they're doing or how to accomplish what they're doing. There's anywhere from 200 to 300 club PIDs that are individual budgets. We reconcile all of our budgets on a monthly basis. And then in addition to the club budgets, I assist with reconciling and reporting on all of the S&A funded budgets. And when you guys think about, for instance, the rec center, that's not one budget. There's probably about 20 to 25 budgets because they've made little cost centers and stuff. So it's a lot more than just, oh, we see one line here, the way we fund them. There's a lot going on. So I broke out our expense in kind of categories so that this pie chart wasn't a dozen little slivers on what did we pay for advertising versus pencils versus paper versus copy machine and stuff. So I grouped it primarily with what does our non-student payroll costs, and this one is, this particular slide happens to be my budget because there's two different budgets we're talking about. So we have non-student payroll, we have benefits, and we have goods and services. The goods and services for my budget pay primarily for the cost of this meeting, and I have another slide that breaks the goods and services down further. And then the lower one right here is the CERC accounting office, which again has non-student payroll. We employ student temps to give them applicable real-world assignments and jobs so that they're actually become referenceable positions that they're holding. We look for people looking for an accounting degree, looking for a business degree or something, so they really have something that they can apply what they're learning in the classroom to our office. And hopefully we don't leave you guys hanging when you're in there, Rock, but our students do a marvelous job. So the breakdown of our goods and services, I categorized them by what's the general office operating costs, so things like copy machines, telephones, office supplies, things like that that actually are what it takes to run the office. And then the program support costs, that's over here. So you guys might wonder, well, what does the Student Funds Financial Manager do for program support? One of the biggest ones is the readership programs, all the newspapers all over in the CERC and stuff. The S&A committee funds that program through my budget, and then we keep track of making sure we're billed correctly and how many weeks are we actually providing newspapers, because we don't pay for newspapers when the students aren't in school, because they're primarily for the students. And in addition to program costs, we have costs associated with running this meeting. I pay fees for the equipment. We do like refreshments. Sometimes it might be something associated, like I do trainings over on the west side for the S&A funded programs. I go to the Yakima Center to help train clubs that are newly getting started up and with the staff on how to handle this. We do have some programmer costs. On the CERC accounting side, again, neither of these budgets are large operating budgets or goods and service budgets because we're primarily services. We did have to, in both my office and my staff, we did use the Win-Win program where we had to upgrade some computers that were dying on a regular basis. And again, it's the costs of copy machines, paper, things along that line are directly supporting programs that are funded by S&A. So our revenue, the darker line one is my budget. The lighter one is the funds associated with the CERC accounting office. My budget's 100% funded by S&A, so there are no alternative funds. The CERC accounting office, we have a little bit more going on, and you'll see that there's not a lot of increase from 2012 to 13 to 14, and that's because in 2012, and I tried to explain it a little bit. There was an offset where the S&A committee itself reduced funding by a couple percent to help offset the cost of the S&A committee paying the administrative fee. They were looking for a partnership with all the programs, and so in order to partner with that and dealing with budgets and stuff, they did keep funding lower, which was fine. We worked through it, and I was a very regular shopper at the surplus office, grabbing news folders and binders and things like that. But it worked well, and we all did quite okay. But in the circuit accounting office, there is what sometimes gets called a blended budget. Technically, they're all S&A fees because the sub fee and the S&A fee. The sub fee was initiated when they built this building. It is dedicated to the bond, and along with that, it also within it says, and it helps cover the operating costs of the building. There are 2 employees that were part of the old sub that came forward, and they trickled down. They're in my office, and so from the sub fee, we get that ongoing funding for those 2 positions. It's partial, it's $51,505, or excuse me, yeah. So we get that for 1 position, and the S&A committee funds 2 positions through the flat funding, and that's what this $138,000 is. So that's kind of come back through the multiple programs and same with the sub. In addition to that, we do we're able to generate a small amount of revenue. It's about $8,000 a year for additional things that we provide staffing for to help make sure that folks are meeting all their financial requirements and stuff. So there was some specific annual report questions. I think I've answered most of them. We've been around for quite a while. I employ 3 student employees. The prevailing wage, we usually only can do somewhere around between $9.50 and $10.50 an hour. Employees that stay longer than 2 years, we try to bump them up a little bit, but we do try to keep it within that range. So, to let them know they're appreciated, and I wish we could pay more. I do a lot of out of my own pocket, providing office snacks and stuff like that. So we decide who we're going to serve based off of the student needs and program needs, and what the ever-changing university policies, the Club Senate, when they change their bylaws, it trickles down to us, and then we do an educational process. Same with the academic senate. We brought on graduate studies last year, so we handle all their support for student travel, whatever's going on with sport clubs. They have different sets of bylaws. So as all of these things are constantly changing, usually the programs are coming to us saying, okay, how do we be compliant? So there's a lot of, we try to meet the needs if there's a financial relationship. And we have done surveys through Qualtrics, and we're always looking for feedback. And I get a lot through emails and such from the students and from the different programs. We collaborate with other areas because we handle, we're the financial support for all the S&A programs, so we're always collaborating with them. We collaborate with the DOE quite frequently on their financial advisor. I advise with the Equity and Service Council. Myself or several staff members frequently go to either club meetings to help assist them if they're planning a big event. We go to Club Senate meetings, academic senate meetings. A lot of those are on request, but we are constantly working with them. Or if we have a group that's doing a multi-funded program or project, then we're also working with the departments to help them with our counterparts over in Mitchell Hall to try and ensure really smooth funding and smooth processing of paperwork, because sometimes we get things in that are a little disjointed. We work with the students to educate them on the university policies and what the required forms on, so that they're turning in things that actually they're able to process in a bit more timely manner because it's organized and it's compliant. Our transactional contacts were 6,000. I couldn't really say what was not duplicated, because some clubs will come in and bring people in continually, and some clubs only do a little. So those are duplicated numbers, but all I could, to give you a true measurement, we pulled actual activity and transactions and what is the requirements to process those. General support of policies and recognition packets. We review and work with all the clubs as they're getting recognized. And we're always, my day's always getting hijacked, and several of my staff on, what do we do with this now? What do we do with that? So there's a lot of general support we do. And the student travel, last year there was approximately 1,300 travelers requiring multiple contacts just to get through the system that we helped. So we're pretty busy. And this is the flow chart for my area. So I report to Shelley Baird, who reports to Connie. And then I have a fiscal analyst, a couple fiscal techs, and then my student employees. And then I just threw in just some examples of, different data that I'm always tracking. How does the $693 a year S&A fee really get distributed? And there's always metrics that I'm keeping up and providing to areas so they can provide information, or if they're trying to do a report and they need data, they're usually coming to me and I'm giving them charts and graphs, etc. And that's my presentation.
All right, any questions? It's a lot of information. I can say that I bother sharing every day with a question.
Yeah, I can say that's accurate too.
Yeah. All right, so no questions. We'll move on to me. Yeah, heard this next presenter is pretty amazing. Good chair.
Remember to turn off that.
Yeah.
It's really annoying.
What is it?
Oh, that's what that noise was the whole time.
Couldn't bother.
Yeah.
You have 10 minutes.
Let me get him up.
That's why you want me to sit here.
All right, guys. Probably all know me, but I'm Jacob Whitman, and I'm the Executive Vice President for the Student Board of Directors. We are, I'm not going to read that whole thing, but we are basically the student government. I got to be honest, I didn't prepare for this. I've had a busy week, but so we'll just go through it. We're the student government, so basically we're going to help with student life and representing every student at Central Washington University. There's 7 different officers, each one with a different role. So we have the president, the executive vice president, the vice president for clubs and organizations, vice president for legislative affairs, vice president for equity and community affairs, vice president for academic affairs, and vice president for student life facilities. So every position is specialized and we each deal with a different area and we each have like a different mentor on campus. The VOD aims to utilize our budget allocation by providing program creation and visibility to all students. And we're students just like you guys. So I think that's pretty cool. Programming support. So yeah, we just provide support on different issues around campus. So currently, some issues we're targeting is like secondhand smoke issues on campus. We help with student life and facilities. We help with legislative issues such as like tuition raises or fee increases. Wellington's Wildfire, which is an event every year, is put on by our Vice President for Student Life and Facilities, and that's funded out of his budget and the DoD budget. There's clubs and organizations. There's currently, I want to say, 120 or so clubs on campus, and those clubs have to come and get recognized. Law Justice Club is one of them. So they have to come and get recognized at our meetings and go through the process with our Vice President of clubs and organizations. And we have student elections every year, which we're looking for people who want to run right now. And elections happen in May, and those are a pretty big event. So there's like different forums you can go to. You can see which candidate has a platform and what they're running on. Yeah, same thing. So key services and duties. I'll just go through. The president doesn't really have any key services. He kind of oversees. It's true. It's not biased, all right? He just kind of oversees the BOD. I manage our budget and I look for committee appointments. So if students want to sit on committees such as the Service and Activities Committee here, they'll apply through my office. I also, I'll discuss later, but I do hire front office staff. Vice President for Clubs and Organizations, I've touched on that a little bit. So they run Club Senate. So as you guys know, if you need money, you can go to Club Senate. I think it's once a week or once every 2 weeks. Vice President for Legislative Affairs, I like this office a lot because I'm interested in politics. So Cassie works closely with our Public Relations Director on campus, and she's worked a lot with local senators and local representatives. specifically on tuition increases and in-state tuition for veterans. Vice President for Equity and Community Affairs, her name is Spencer, and she runs the ESC, which is the Equity Service Council. Yes, Equity Service Council, I know that one. And that's, I think, 8 different organizations on campus, such as like Black Student Union, or that's just one of them. But yeah, thank you. Vice President for Academic Affairs is Kelsey, and she works closely with Provost Levine on academic issues. So one of the issues right now, not really an issue, but one of the topics of conversation is College of Education and Professional Studies is going to split into 2. So it's going to be College of Education and College of Professional Studies. What was that?
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we'll see. Another one was the semester conversion survey. So I don't know if you guys saw that in your email, but some big talks around Washington State for quarter schools is switching to semester schools. So Kelsey's worked closely with that. Scott, our VP for Student Life Facilities, he sits on 4 different committees and chairs 2 of them. So it's Student Union Board, Recreation Board, Wildcat Committee, or Wildcat Shop Committee, and Dining Advisory Committee. So he works a lot with people here in the Student Union Building and Recreation Center. He also works really closely with Billy Harwood over facilities management. All right, this is our expense information. So I'll start off with 2012. We spent roughly $80,000 in 2012 on student employment, and that's going to cover each officer's employment, which we're paid $14 an hour at 14 hours a week. Sometimes we work more than, actually every week we work more than that. So it's kind of like a salary thing. We also pay for front office staff out of that budget. So currently I have 3 front office staff, and they work from 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. Not all of them, but they cover those times. We just have to have them there if people need to turn in forms if they have questions with the BOD. And that also covers our elections coordinator, who is Miles. So we employ an elections coordinator winter and spring quarter, and they run our elections. And lastly, it covers our PR director, who takes our minutes at our meetings and also works with publicity here in the CERT to really get our stuff out there. Goods and services budget, that's going to pay, that year it probably paid for shredders because we had like 9 crappy ones, but basically it's going to pay for office supplies, and Wellington's wildfire comes out of that, and yeah, thank you. Insurance is a big one. So club insurance is about $30,000 per year. As you can see, $28,000 2012, $26,000 2013, and that's just insurance for all the clubs. Operating cost is going to be, like I mentioned, our shredders, office supplies. We spend a lot of money on printing paper, programming. So I don't know if you've seen our public meetings. It's not really that popular to come to, but they're in the CERT. We have to pay to be there. Robert comes to them. He enjoys them. But so those are also Wellington's, like I said, Wellington's wildfire comes out of that, or the Fred Meyer night and Weimar night. Yeah. So there's a lot of programming. All right, this is our revenue. So we're 100% funded by S&A. And in 2012, we had $138,000. And 2013, we had temporary cut number there, but it was roughly about $145,000. And this year, we're at $152,000. And like so we're fully funded by S&A. We don't have any other incoming money other than that. This program's been receiving S&A funding since we've existed, which was, I believe, it used to be called the Board of Control in the late 1970s, early 1980s, and then it switched over to the Board of Directors under John Drinkwater, who used to be the Campus Life Director. So the BOD budget, like I mentioned, we employ the 7 officers, 3 to 4 front office staff, elections coordinator, and PR director. Prevailing wage, so our officers make $14 an hour at 14 hours a week. I have front office staff that make from minimum wage to $10 an hour. I don't know what Miles makes because I'm not his boss, but I'm going to say it's probably around $10 an hour, and our PR director makes $10 an hour. So which program or services to offer students? It's basically what we noticed was a huge student concern around campus. I mean, we're students too, so we see what students have issues with. So like I mentioned, secondhand smoke on campus, that's a big one I heard coming into this year, and that's something with the Fresh Air campaign that I've been running, we've been working on. We also, we're going to consistently do Fred Meyer night every year, Weimar night, Wellington's wildfire. So we want to put on programs for the students. This is a big one, this question here. How do you solicit student input for program and service direction and growth? So I think this actually might be the first year that BOD's really utilized Qualtrics, which is our online survey program. So you might, I know people just delete them sometimes, but you might see them in your inbox. It's like, how do you feel about this? And so semester conversion got over 1,700 responses. which is roughly 10% of the school. And I don't know if you're familiar with like Gallup polls or any kind of polling, but 10% of responses is insanely good. And we had the Fresh Air the Fresh Air campaign survey received about 1,000 responses, so that was still really good too. Qualtrics is a big one. We also get solicit student input at Club Senate, ESC, and SAS, which is Student Academic Senate. All right, well, we collaborate with almost every organization on campus if you think about it. So a huge one's going to be Campus Life. Another one would be Sharon's office because she helps with our budget. VP of Student Life and Facilities works really close with RHA. I think he goes to those meetings once a week. We work with every club and organization because they have to come through our office. We also work with ESC and the committee process, which this year I've really realized the committee process is actually really big on campus because our campus believes in shared governance. So if you can't have a full committee, then decisions can't be made. So yeah, we work with administration's a big one too. I meet with Sharon, who's not administration, but she's my mentor. I also meet with George Clark, who is our CFO. Brian meets with President Gaudino, and Kelsey, Provost Levine. So we all meet with our different administrative respective people, so we work closely with them as well. Our student learning objectives, really no objectives for front office staff, but they're just kind of there. But a big one would be elections coordinator. So, I mean, it's true, but a big one's elections coordinator. And so Miles, I know, has been learning a lot this year about the election process and really how to gain student input, and that's a big one. And another big office that we really want to touch on is our PR director. So Turtle, who's currently our PR director, has been interested in PR, so we want to find someone who desires for that, and that's basically that. Yeah. But obviously for us, I can talk about us because we're employees. It's weird to think of us like that. Leadership's a big one. So having the 7 leadership positions we learn a lot. We're kind of on our own. We do have advisors, but we can make our own decisions. So leadership's huge, and responsibility also. How many students do you serve? I would probably say about 10,000 students. I mean, we're student government, but I mean, we don't directly serve all those students because not everyone pays attention, I guess. But clubs, 120 clubs. I mean, that's thousands of people. Committee members, I have about 60 committee applications for this year, and I think there's about 75 spots, so I have most of those spots filled. Like I mentioned, ESC has 8 organizations, and SAS has a representative from each department on campus. So how many students, Robert, would SAS have?
We're not completely full, but we're pushing
At least 30. Okay, cool. So I mean, we serve everyone, basically. Yeah. All right, and that's basically it. If you have any questions, come to our office at CERT 236. There's actually big things happening around campus right now. For instance, we just banned smoking on the CERT patios starting May 1st. So believe it or not, your student government does make a difference. But if you have any questions, come to CERT 236, and I'll be willing to answer. Thanks, guys. Oh, you have a question.
Does anyone have any questions for Jacob?
My question was, are we allowed to ask questions?
What? That's what.
My question was, are we allowed to ask questions now?
Yeah.
You don't have a question?
So that was my question.
Oh, you don't have a question?
Does anyone else have any questions?
You have a question?
Going once, going twice. Got questions?
All right, cool. Thanks, guys. I would like to entertain a motion to recess till 7:05. Miles?
So moved.
Dustin?
Oh.
Oh.
I'll second the next one.
Okay. So you second?
Yeah.
Okay. Any discussion?
What?
I really have to use the bathroom. 5 minutes, 7:05. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion passes. We'll review at 7:05.
For all the people who have like a 4-year-old
I'm trying to.
Take it right.